Hey, my name is Rob Imhoff. I'm running for Deschutes County Commissioner seat number 5. And I was asked, what do I think is the most important thing that was going to impact young people? Um, Housing affordability, I think, is a big one. And I think the way we get there is how we differ. I think that we need more homes built so that they become affordable for my kids, you guys, my grandkids, the next generations. And I'm running for the next generations. I have a number of big ideas. That is what we call them, big ideas. But one of them is I want to see 75% of all county contracted work go to local contractors so that that money stays inside Deschutes County and is spent in Deschutes County. It's also why I wanted to see Mount Bachelor be locally owned, because right now all that money and profit goes to Utah, and I'd like to see it spent here locally. I'd like to expand the fairgrounds. We have 120 acres on the backside of the fairgrounds. It's not anything right now, and any of our young people that do anything from equestrian to athletics, expanding the fairgrounds, that's our gift to the next generation. And I'd like to see some athletic facilities, basketball, baseball, football, doesn't matter what the sport is, some expansions to the 4-H program and rodeo ground, and just in general, just use the fairgrounds to be the best service it can be to the people of Deschutes County. I mean, we understand that our property taxes continue to rise, and we don't really seem to get a lot of voice in that. But for all of our people that are 65 and over, I'd like to see the property taxes frozen. Fixed incomes makes it very difficult to predict what the costs are going to be each year. And then again, on the housing side, I'd like to see opportunities for young people to be able to move into a house that has a yard and doesn't share a wall with somebody else, like an apartment or a duplex or whatever. And I just think that we have an opportunity to continue to have Deschutes County be the best place to raise a family, start a family, raise a family. And so it doesn't really matter what generation you come from. I think that everybody has value. And you know, one of my favorite verses is found in Timothy, and it says, First Timothy, it says, "Don't let them look down on you for your youth." And I think that we can learn a lot from young people. Obviously, kind of the middle age, or maybe I'm moving into wrinkly age now, like me, and then some of the older people. It's understanding that each generation has different things that makes it unique, and all together we can make a beautiful picture that's Deschutes County in Central Oregon. One of the things that people, our opponents, a lot of them want to discuss water, and they want to discuss public lands. What I'll tell you is that other than the county public lands, we don't really have a lot of say in our water. For instance, we have a state water board that regulates our water usage, but there's a lot of concern about whether we're going to run out of water. So I have done some really deep dive studies. I encourage you to go read some of there's I believe his name is Tim DeBooth, and he is from Oregon State. So it's a very non-biased report, but it talks about groundwater and our aquifer. And so people say we're going to run out of water. The truth is that we live on a deep, it's called a deep aquifer. It's found, I believe it starts at about 700 feet and goes down to about 1,000 feet. But that aquifer, we know from studies based on they studied the main well in Terrebonne, and they found that water is between 60 and 70 years old that's there. It's gravity fed. It goes from the base of the Cascades, goes all the way to the Badlands, and it goes from the South County all the way to the Gateway in the North County. And it's a giant water table that is a pipe that comes from the Cascades. And they just found another aquifer, they said, is the size of Lake Mead up in the Cascades. And so we know that deep water, and the access to that water is found when you drill down and find it. A lot of the people who have things that are drying up for what's called artificial recharge. And artificial recharge comes from the canals that have now been piped. And so that is one way to get artificial recharge. The other one is vertical recharge. What happens, that's what falls on the ground, rain, snow, in the Central Oregon, the basin that we live in. It falls here, and we have junipers that suck up 17 to 30 gallons of water per day for an adult juniper. And so the groundwater, then it gets where there's a deficiency in that groundwater. Deficit is what they call it. And so the juniper has a shell around it that it doesn't allow that the snow that lands on it doesn't ever come down and soak the water that's beneath the tree And so it creates a deficit. So then when there is water, it just soaks up that deficit. And so, yes, we have a surface water deficit and a groundwater deficit. A lot of that we could solve if every single piece of county ground cut down every juniper, incentivize people to cut the junipers down on their land, and you'll start to see springs well back up. You'll start to see ground and surface water start to rise and get those levels back. And then I do think we should have ran an artificial recharge pipe alongside the piping in the canals that's perforated, that allows us then for the 2 months, a couple months we're not irrigating, maybe in early spring, to recharge the surface water and groundwater well levels and get people. I just feel like fear is this narrative that it sells, but it's not grounded in fact. So we need to get back to those. Another thing that I think we need to be focused on, since obviously it's a topic, is the homeless situation. One of my propositions is I'd like to see a 6 to 7 mile ring around every urban growth boundary that says there's no more unauthorized camping. We have to do that in order to protect all the neighborhoods. We're 79% public lands in Deschutes County. Many people border those public lands. And so we need to be really mindful of how do we have compassion on people. I don't think giving them clean needles and giving them free handouts and giving them a, continuing to encourage homeless tourism, I don't think that gets us where we want to go. I think we need to be outcome based. Outcome based is how government should govern. It should be limited and it should be outcome based. And if someone is getting government money to perform a specific job, then it needs to be something that's measurable. And we need to find out, is that outcome being achieved? And if it's not being achieved, the money does not go to them anymore. And, and look to the private sector to solve a lot of the issues that we face in our county, and don't think that the government is the answer. So there's 9 words that Ronald Reagan once said were the greatest lie, and it is, we're with the government and we're here to help. So I fish, I hunt, I golf, I bow hunt and I rifle hunt, but predominantly bow hunting. I think that what attracted me to Central Oregon, I grew up in Hillsboro, so I grew up on the rainy side of the mountain, and we always came over here to get into the sunshine. So we have 300 days of sunshine in Central Oregon. We get to live where everybody else wants to vacation. And I think that we have to protect our playground and be good stewards of it, but be able to use it and enjoy it. So I love, all things. I have, dogs. I have a couple labs. I got grandsons that play all kinds of different sports and do all kinds of activities. And I just love to be outside, and I love the blue skies.